Well, I thought I'd do a review of my Hanwei or Pearce early medieval sword. It's quite a cheap sword for one of the decent ones, so I thought I'd do a review and talk about it, you know, in case anyone's interested in getting one and wonder if it's worth getting this or paying more for a sort of cold steel model. So it comes with this scabbard, but unfortunately there's no belt loop on this, although it is quite a nice scabbard. But there is one problem with it. The insides aren't all protected, so you do blunt the sword slightly every time you pull it out, which is kind of annoying, but it wasn't a super sharp sword to begin with anyway. It's sort of sharp, but not sharp enough you can cut your hand running along it. It does feel sharp, and obviously it cuts well, but the stabbing is the main thing on this sword. That is exceptional. The blade's about 31.5 inches roughly. I think it's something like 31 2/3 of an inch, and it weighs just over a kilogram. I think it's about 1.1 kilogram, 1.2 kilograms. Feels very nice in the hand, very easy to move around. It uses an interesting tang on it. Basically, the sword is in here, and it goes through the handle, and then where the hilt is, there's a nut in the bottom of the hilt, and that's what attaches the hilt to the tang. And it actually means that you can swap around the furniture on the sword or put a different blade in it if you wanted to. So you could get the long sword blade and put it in here, or on a long sword you could put this blade in it, which is quite a nice idea, and it means that you can easily tighten the sword if the tang's getting a bit loose, and it's easier to repair it if anything goes wrong. I do sometimes notice a bit of rattle with this sword here, but that might just be I need to tighten the tang up because it doesn't look like there's anything wrong with it in there. Now I do have a couple of complaints with it. Firstly, it's spring steel, which is good steel for retaining its edge and everything, and I haven't had any damages with it, but it rusts easily, and I've been keeping it oiled, but you do get a little bit of rust forming on the blade, which isn't so good, but it's only like surface rust, so that isn't a huge problem, and it hasn't affected the blade at all. And the only other complaint, some people complain about the leather on the handle, but personally I don't have a problem with that. The only other problem is where the handguard is, and the hilt, that's actually made of not the same quality spring steel as the blade. So that rusts easier than a blade, and it takes scratches much easier. It's quite a nasty scratch there. I don't know if that shows up on the camera, where this fell over and it scratched that up, but not the blade. But yeah, this was only about £110 plus shipping, and the cold steel ones are normally about £300. So price wise it's very good compared to the cold steel ones, and I haven't noticed any problem in quality with it. It's just spring steel rather than carbon steel. Yeah, I think that's really about it with it. I did notice on the site it said it had been reduced, but I don't know if that was actually more of a marketing ploy, saying it was about half price. But yeah, it seems to be a very good sword overall, especially if you don't want to spend so much as a cold steel one and still want a decent sword. Now it has got a fuller going up there, and it is quite nicely balanced, as that was one of the problems I had when I was looking at the John Barnett swords, which are a bit cheaper. People said they're good war hangers and they're quite strong, but they're not very well balanced, so you actually have a job keeping the blade. Well, you can't really practically use it for much. Well, hope that's been informative for some of you, if you're interested in getting the sword. And yeah, it's quite a nice sword. Thank you.